that's what I said.
That's wow. That's amazing. I like that.
Yep.
My best advice is brought to you by Mims Ukes. It's where I buy my ukuleles. I'm here with HeatherNova. I got famous people on my show.
Oh, hi Mike, how are you?
I'm good. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I love advice. I love getting advice. I love hearing people's stories about the advice that they've received. I love reading quotes and sayings. I love hearing about what someone thinks Abraham Lincoln said in 1943. It's one of the reasons I like Facebook so much. Give me a good meme with advice on it any day of the week, and I'm a happy, happy boy. So when I decided to do a podcast, something I wanted to do for a while, this seemed like something I'd enjoy talking about. So here we are. I'm your host. I'm Mike, and this is my best advice. So I'm here with HeatherNova, who is awesomeness incarnate, I think.
You're very kind, Mike.
Not kind. It's a statement of fact.
No.
Heather, well, introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Oh gosh, well, I'm a Bermudian. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've been making records for about 20 years now. So I write songs, sing them, tour,
She started when she was 4.
Yes, that's right.
Because I'm only 27, of course.
Yeah, and that's about it in a nutshell. I'm a writer of songs, and that's
Good
my passion.
songs.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've just made a new record. It's my 9th album, and it's called The Way It Feels.
And it's awesome. And there are some amazing, amazing songs on it. Sea Glass is one of my favorite.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
It really is my favorite. It's like so good.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. You know, I released it in Europe a few months ago, and a lot of the journalists were asking me, what is sea glass?
That's wild.
So it is wild, because it's one of those things, living on an island, that I guess we can't imagine someone not knowing what sea glass is. Yeah. I mean, you know Glass Beach, right?
Yeah.
We all used to go
Dockyard.
to Glass Beach and collect the sea glass. And
I referenced Art Mells on the last show, and I realized afterwards, I was like, no one is going to know who Art Mells is.
No one out there
No
in
one
the big
out
wide
there
world.
in the big wide world. Because I'm not used to people. I'm not like you. I'm not a huge...
Oh, what do you mean? You are.
Stop.
You're becoming that way.
I'm slowly but surely getting there. I'm hoping. So this is my best advice, and this show is about advice. So let's set the mood. Who gave you the advice that we're going to chat about this evening?
My mother.
Oh.
Yes. And my mother's very practical, very down to earth, and didn't give me lots of sort of advice in terms of sayings and things like that. Mm-hmm. But, it was always kind of chin up, buck up, get on with it kind of thing. But this one piece of advice, I actually, when you asked me what had been the most useful, I looked back and I thought, this one is so simple and almost a cliche. I guess it is a cliche, but for a reason. But the ways in which, I've taken it on board throughout my life have been pretty profound.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you when you would have gotten this?
Oh, I don't know, as long as I can remember. I was a pretty shy kid, and this piece of advice was meant to help me feel okay and get on with things, and and then I took it out into the world and I use it today. I've been going through a kind of personal crisis lately, and it's been a piece of advice that I came back to.
Yeah, it's so funny that you said your mom's a practical person, because you guys have lived a pretty bohemian life.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I guess you have to be practical to live as free a life as you guys have had.
That's true.
I mean, you guys grew up on boats and,
yes,
and sort of all over the place, and sort of you think of lifestyles like you guys grew up with as sort of free hippy dippy, and you
right.
gotta think. And when you think about it, you actually have to be pretty sort of...
Oh, you do. You have to be disciplined and really practical. When you think about 5 people living on a 40-foot boat, it was like, no, you get your belongings down to 3 square feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. You know,
Right.
and so it was, you know, that's why I now live on land in a big sprawling house and collect meaningless crap.
Yes.
Because
Exactly. Exactly. You can now be the hippie that everyone thought you were as a kid.
exactly, yes, let it all hang out.
Now, my friend Sally, I've just got to do this really quick. My friend Sally will kill me if I didn't, because she is a huge Jimmy Buffett fan.
Okay.
And you are one of the Les Enfants
Yes.
that he sings about.
Yes,
in the
that's right.
songs.
So Jimmy was, we lived on this boat down in the Caribbean mostly. We sailed all around, but Jimmy had a boat and was often in the same harbors as us, and we met him, you know, from time to time. And we were, you know, there were some kids on boats, but not a lot. And I guess he was kind of taken by us, and we were these.
Well, because you guys are awesome.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
No, I love you guys.
But my brother especially, I think he was taken by, because my brother was much younger. He was like 3, you know, at the time. And he knew the White Album from the first song to the last note. He could sing it, and then he'd even do like the gaps in between the songs. And every word and every tone, awesome. He had perfect pitch, you know, or has perfect pitch. And so Jimmy wrote this song about my brother and his little friend Magnus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Heather's brother is the reggae star Mishka, who I think just had an album out, or he's working on an album.
He's got a new one just come out too.
Yeah, I saw him the other day. It was really good
In
to
fact,
see him.
we're going on tour together in a couple of weeks.
That's
so
amazing.
Yeah, it's
and
so
where
nice.
will you be touring?
We're touring around.
Let's throw plugs in wherever we can.
Yes, please come. We're touring all around sort of northern Europe, and that starts on the 20th of October for 3 weeks.
Those of you that are in northern Europe, which I'm hoping after the festival that I'm playing at, we'll have some more of those folks. Go see HeatherNova and Mishka live in concert. All right, so we're at the 7-minute mark, which, according to my notes, is advice time.
Oh, okay.
So what was the advice?
So the piece of advice was so simple. It was be yourself. And the ways in which I've used that piece of advice, which sounds oversimplified in a way, are profound. Like, you know, I think being an artist, there are times when you don't feel you're adequate. There are times when you question your work. And the thing that's most valuable and most valid in being an artist is being as you can be.
I like that.
You know, whether you're writing, whether you're performing, don't try to aspire to anyone else or anything else. Just be you, because the individuality is what makes something special. And so, although this piece of advice I think was meant for me to give me more confidence when I, you know, was feeling unsure about social situations or things like that, it's been really valuable to me as an artist. And but as I said, I even came back to it recently when I was going through a difficult time in my life. And thinking, you know, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, maybe I should go out more, maybe I should, you know. And then a friend actually said to me, they said, you know what, just be you. Yeah. And it struck me right in my chest, because I remembered it was sort of like my mother saying it to me again, but this was coming from someone completely different, and at a time when I just really needed to hear that again. You know, just be you, it's okay. If you just want to stay home every night and, you know, I don't know,
read a book.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to be doing anything that's not you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that's what it comes down to.
that is, I mean, the simpler the advice, the better. The advice from last week's show was do what you can't not do.
Okay, that's one of those double negatives. Yeah,
you know, and be yourself. I mean, it is simple. It's you know,
but it's so important.
It feels trite, but it's not.
Exactly.
You know, it really is. You know, the whole thing of cliches are cliches for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason.
It's so wonderful that you said that, because one of the things that I think will be a theme of this is that find what you love in your life, and then do that, and you'll be happy. And,
yes.
A couple of years ago, especially with my ukulele thing, I just made the decision to be happy for forever. That's is going to be. Yeah.
The Dalai Lama would agree with you. Actually, says that's the meaning of life.
I'm in good company then. And I think being yourself is a massive, massive part of that. And finding who that person is that you want to be. I was once asked. I was at a Cure or Curb meeting down here, basically talking about racism in Bermuda, and there was quite a bit of white guilt going on. And people were saying, who were you responsible to? And there was quite a few people saying, oh, we're responsible to the historically disadvantaged and stuff. And while I agree with that, that we do have some responsibility, the thing that hit me in my head, because I just read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Was we're responsible to the person that we expect ourselves to be. Which goes to be yourself. Find the person that you want to be, and then strive to be that person.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Or just find the essence of you.
Yeah.
Not even what you aspire to be so much as who are you at your essence. And there's a great quote, and I'm embarrassingly forgetting the name of the person who the quote is by, but basically says, "Don't ask what you can do for the world. Ask what it is that makes you come alive, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive."
That's amazing.
And I just think that's the best quote ever. And it's like be yourself, basically,
Yeah.
And follow that. Follow that. Because it's a calling. Whoever you are, whatever that voice is in you is a calling, and you owe it to not only yourself, but kind of to the world to follow that calling.
That's fantastic. Now, has this, I'm assuming this has affected your songwriting and stuff.
Absolutely.
Your song, I find your songs very personal.
Yeah.
And what I like about them is they're pleasant. You do pleasant songs, but then you listen to the words, and you pay attention to the words, and there is a lot more there that is not only personal to you, but feels personal to me. It feels like a very universal thing. Do you think that's because you are being yourself and sort of finding that root of all of us?
Well, yeah, and I think that being yourself is not always the easy route. So I think it often involves taking a risk.
Absolutely.
And that's what I find with songwriting that you have to do. Is you have to take the risk of being raw and being real and being yourself.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you write something of validity. If you play it safe and you stay on the surface and you just write a pretty melody, like you say, my melodies are I write hopefully beautiful melodies.
You do, yeah.
But the content, the lyrical content is every time taking a risk in some way, in whether it's exposing the myself that I'm being, that's what it is mostly, in exploring that meanness, in revealing something, an experience. So it's always taking the risk of being yourself, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Is songwriting to me.
Because it is terrifying.
Absolutely. But those ones that you really take the risk on and are really raw and truthful are the ones that people connect with because, as you were saying, it is universal, right? It's just sharing the experience of what it is to be human. And you can only share that if you're real about it.
Yeah. The Steinbeck in East of Eden, it's been years since I read it, but he basically said the one fear that we have as people is fear of rejection.
Yeah.
And I think that does control so many of us. I know it controls me a lot.
Yeah.
I am working on that. When I get up on stage, one cut eye, one person sort of looking at me even a little bit, and I will if I don't catch myself, you go into that spiral of, oh my God, they hate me. Oh my God, what can I do to make it better? Oh my God. And then suddenly you're like 3 songs in going, what am I doing here?
Yes, yeah.
You have to do that quick stop. Is like, if they don't like you, screw them.
It's kind of, I feel like walking out on stage, because I'm terrified every time, even though I've been doing it all these years. I feel like it's just this little act of faith. And so you step out there and you just, and I'm not talking about religion, but I'm talking about faith in yourself and in the music. Yeah. And so when I step out on stage, I just go, I forget about all that, and I just start playing music. And, you know, if you asked me to stand up in front of a crowd and speak, I couldn't do it. I'd be terrified. But music is like this, and this thing that envelops you and just gives you strength, I feel. And you can, everything falls away. That's how I feel when I perform. All that self-consciousness, all that,
so
all the
performing
worries.
Is sort of like a freedom kind of thing.
I find, yeah.
I've just had this weird sort of revelation. I'm actually kind of an introvert.
Me too. Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But we're performers.
But you'll find so many artists are introverts.
It really sort of woke me up. And to go back to the thing, be yourself, finding that I am an introvert and finding an outlet so that, to interact with people that feel safe for me. Having that wall between, wall of audience performer. Yeah. The proscenium arch of
hiding in the spotlight.
Yeah, exactly. And it's opened my eyes a lot to sort of who I am as a person, and accepting that I am quite introverted. And this is an outlet, and this is an escape from that introversion. But it still allows me to sort of be in control of the situation.
Yes, that's true.
Has been.
It's a really interesting mix of contradictions. I agree. And it is. I find it like freedom and affirmation and crazy because, like you say, we're introverts, but we go out there in front of all these people in these spotlights. But music is this vehicle for being able to just, access that, again, that kind of, that truth and that essence. And so you don't care about the bullshit for that hour that you're on stage. Yeah, and it's amazing.
I'd love to do an hour show. I do 3 hours straight.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm insane. I'm not right now.
Wow, you've got stamina.
I'd love to do an hour show. But I also, I don't strain myself, or I just sort of stand there and talk nonsense. So from the October 9th to the 11th at the King's Theatre in Portsmouth, I will be at GSUF, the Grand Southern Ukulele Festival, speaking of performing, with Aldrin Guerrero, myself, Victoria Vox are the headliners, but also performing are Ben Rouse, Phil Dolman, ukulele, Zaza, Vixen, her Mischiefs, the Mother Ukers, Crabbers, the Mersey Bells, Dead Man's Uke, Jono and the Uke Dealers, Michael Adcock, Tricity Vogue, Joe Black is the MC, Seb Alway, Francesco Albertazzi, I will finally learn how to say his name next week, Peter Moss, Chuck and Feckle, Liam Caperstar, Ria Lina, Lord Hicks, and Nakisha Esnard. I'm also doing a workshop, so if you're interested, come out and check out the workshop. I will also be seeing Jake Shimabukuro. Oh no, by the time this comes out, I will have seen Jake Shimabukuro in Leeds. It will be wonderful. This podcast is brought to you by Grand Northern Events. That's what we call a mid-roll, apparently.
Smooth.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
I do my best. That's what we call a segue in the business. A really poor segue. And then I brought attention to it. So this is every show I'm going to try to sort of figure out how to make this work for me, and that is really quite wonderful advice.
Well, you can thank my mother.
and I shall.
Yeah.
I got to know Heather and her family, well, your sister mainly, your sister and brother mainly, when I worked at Rock Island Coffee for Chiefy, her sister Susanna, who's a dear friend who I don't see anywhere near enough. And you and I sort of got to know each other a little bit, but not
more through music. Yeah.
And then, so then you cooked me lunch while I recorded my album.
That's right.
And I'll tell you, it was at that point. I mean, I don't know if you have this experience, but I'm assuming you do because it felt very natural. I saw on Facebook a Venn diagram, and it was two overlapping circles, and they were like very narrowly overlapping, and one was overarching ego, and on the other side it was crippling self-doubt, and in the middle where they overlapped, it just said art.
Yeah.
And I had written my first 3 songs and was recording them in the studio, and I was terrified. I was everything I do sucks. This is terrible. And you came in, and we just finished doing one song, and you were like, "Oh, I wish I wasn't sick because I would have sang backup on this." And I don't even know if you were aware of this, but the validation that gave me that this was something worth singing on was amazing to me, and it really gave me so much more confidence that what I was doing was pretty good.
Yeah.
I still think that I suck.
You know what? So do I. Honestly, and the other day a friend stopped me and said, "Oh, I just have to tell you, we love your new record. My daughter sings along to it in the car on the way to school." It's all those things mean so much, and I think it's especially when you're friends like what you've done.
Yeah, well, and especially the friends that have told you that your hair looks like crap, and that you got big smelly feet.
They're honest,
and the ones that if it was shit would be like, dude, that was just awful. There's a line in one of my songs that Joy Barnum helped me write. I don't need no Superman saving, all I want is Clark Kent loving. And the way it sounds on the CD, and I hadn't caught it, but a friend of mine was like, "It sounds like you're saying cock and loving." And I was like, "Oh, God, oh, my God, why would you say that to me?" And then it was like, "Oh."
And then you could never hear it.
You're saying that to me because you love me and you want it to be better.
Right.
And when I perform it live, you want to make sure that I don't
enunciate
cock and loving.
That's right.
So when someone like that says, "But it's a good song,"
yeah,
that's when you feel
they're
better.
telling the truth.
Yeah. The good thing about your advice, though, and the good thing that I'm going to take on from it is, while we think that we suck, we don't think that we suck. Like, I'm the worst songwriter in the world. The music that I write is trite and bullshit, and it's like basic chord progressions, and I'm awful. But I'm still cool. I'm still a good person.
Oh, right. I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think my music is the best thing about me.
Oh.
Yeah.
No offense to your music, but I completely disagree. I think you're awesome.
Oh, it's very nice of you. But whatever it is, I think, you just have to remember that we're okay whoever we are, because,
Exactly.
We're the only one, right?
I think that's what I was trying to say, is that while we may think that we suck, we don't think that, like, as a whole, that we suck.
Right.
That we're not.
Right. It's in that moment you might have that insecurity.
There are aspects of us that are not the best.
Yeah. and that's called being human.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we have to remember.
And that really is, and part of be yourself is, learn to accept the shitty parts.
Exactly. The shadow side.
Yeah.
And
which is actually kind of a big thing.
It's a big thing. Yes.
For me, I was born with club feet and a whole bunch of weirdness going on. My ears were bad. I had hernias and everything. And for years and years and years, I thought I was defective.
Right.
And it was only as an adult that I just sort of went, wait a minute, no, I'm awesome. Like, I should not be able to walk, and I can.
Yeah.
But I always thought, because I couldn't run like other kids, that there was something wrong with me. And there is something wrong with me, but that's not a bad thing.
Sure.
Which is, I think, quite an important.
And I wanted to mention something else. When I was in my 20s, I was having a lot of anxiety attacks and things, and it was all due to not feeling good enough, to not feeling like I was quite what I needed to be in terms of, my career was taking off, but I never felt like I was good enough in the interviews. I never felt like I was good enough on stage, or that my record, I wasn't. And then I read this book, and it was the simplest book in the world, but it was right back to that advice, be yourself. And it's, Winnie the Pooh.
The Tao of Pooh.
The Tao of Pooh changed my life.
I'm now going to lift my shirt up and expose myself to HeatherNova, mega pop star.
I have to put up. What is it? Oh.
That's why I have that.
No way.
Yeah. Because of that book.
Funny.
I have a tattoo of Winnie the Pooh hanging from my nipple, which is what I just exposed to HeatherNova.
That's a first.
And I got it because of that book.
How incredible. What a synchronicity. Yeah, but that book completely changed my life. And I read that book, and it's like this little bell went ding. It's like, oh, I'm okay as I am. And it was just major shift.
Did it give you the ability to stop for a second?
Mm-hmm.
There's a wonderful line in it: observe, deduce, and apply. And that really changed me, because you always, oh God, I'm going to do this, and it made me it gave me the ability to just sort of go, take a second. Yeah. Okay, this is what's going on. Now I can figure out what the hell I'm going to do with it. Yeah. And now I'm going to do that.
I probably should read the book again, because it's probably one of those books that gives you the advice that you need at that time in your life. At the moment, at that time, I needed that, I guess. I needed that reminder to just come back to myself and say, it's okay. Accept yourself with all your flaws, and it's enough.
Yeah. Well, I think you're more than enough. I think you're absolutely awesome. Wow. So everyone go out and buy or download on Amazon, on your Kindle, The Tao of Pooh, and I think there was the Day of Piglet was.
Yeah, I didn't read that. No.
But it was. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Wow, I think we've. I think
we've covered all bases there.
HeatherNova is on tour.
I'm on tour in Europe from October 20th to November 9th. I'm in London on November 9th. And more to come in the new year.
London, November 9th. I've got a lot of people, I hope, listening that will be in London. They better be listening, because I'm going to be in London as I'm releasing this, yelling at them to listen to my podcast. Good. And I will I will push your make sure.
Thank you. I'm playing Islington Assembly Hall. It's called. Never played there before.
It's a little bigger than the gigs I'll be doing. Okay. So go catch HeatherNova if you're in Europe and in London. Pick up her new album on iTunes. Is that the best place to get it?
iTunes, yep. Amazon, yep.
Amazon, all over the place. She's a big star. Thank you so much. This episode has been brought to you by the Grand Southern Ukulele Festival and Mims Ukes. Do go out if you're interested in a ukulele. Go to mimsukes.com. She does amazing setups, and we'll put you together with your dream ukulele at a price that can't be beat, which sounds as cheesy as hell, and she'll hate me for saying it, but that makes me happy. Thank you so much. I've been Mike, and this has been my best advice.